Hey class, it's Miss Colvin-King. I hope that you had a good weekend. I just want to touch bases with you to let you know how you can do even better in the class outside of the things that I have in the course about how to take an online class. These things that I'm going to talk to you about are about sociology specifically. First, you will do better in sociology if you understand that sociology is a science, meaning that it uses that researchers use the scientific method or positivism to study society, human behavior, institutions in society. That is the scientific method where researchers ask a question, they develop a theory to answer that question, they test the theory with research methods, whether it includes experiments or surveys or other data that helps them to answer that question. And then they analyze what they find from that data that they find. They analyze it and they report their findings. They report their findings based on what social scientists find as a result of their research is called a social fact, meaning that while you may have an opinion on certain issues, a social fact is a slice of information that is not up to it's not up for debate. It's been proved beyond a reasonable amount of evidence to be considered true. It's been the studies have been repeated, and all of the studies, all of the results come back the same. It's a social fact, and it's been again, it's considered reliable and it's considered valid if other researchers do the study again and come up with the same results. For example, let me give you an example of a social fact. Literacy rates of women indicate the health and wealth of a people in any given country. In other words, where women are educated, you will find healthy people in a relatively rich society. This doesn't mean that you won't find unhealthy people in a society where women are educated. Rather, when women can read, they are more likely to pass on that information that they learn to their children, which helps to then extend survival. In this course, I ask you for your perspective and your opinion on certain issues. However, it doesn't mean that your opinion is right. It also doesn't mean that it's wrong. I don't grade your assignments based on whether or not I agree or disagree with your opinion. I grade it based on whether you have demonstrated the ability to, number one, follow directions, but also your ability to think critically, which means that you've presented all sides of an issue and you infuse what you learn from the class from the class, from reading the chapters, while also incorporating your own experience or perspective. My motto in this class comes from another sociologist named Peter Berger. And the motto is, what you think you know, you don't really know. And what that stems from is all the information that we are embedded with that comes at us from the media, from our parents, and other information that we get. We get that information, but we never really test whether or not that information is true. We just sort of take people's word for it. Or we may see examples of ourselves, which then proves that thing might be true. What sociology teaches us is that what we think we know, we don't really know. For instance, if I were to ask you, if I were to say, teenage pregnancy, it's on an all-time high. It's a social problem, right? And if you say, yeah, that's true, you'd be wrong. Why would you be wrong? Because actually, teenage pregnancy is the lowest it's ever been in human history. Why do we know that to be true? Because of the life expectancy of people. Our life expectancy has doubled in the past 100 years. Most people were expected to live to about the age of 40 or 50. Women's menstrual cycles start at the age of between 10 and 16, sometimes even younger, or maybe even older. But the point of a menstrual cycle is to indicate that you're ready to have children. Well, if we have our menstrual cycles when we're 13, that means we're ready to have children. You were due to be dead by the age of 40 or 50. So most people had children when they were about 15 years old. Now, from advancements and advances in medicine and technology, we live longer than the age of 40 or 50. Most of us do. And so we've been able to extend the time that we have children. We don't have to have children at 15 now. So when it happens, it's looked at as a social problem. But biologically, our bodies say something different. What you think you don't really know. Society gives us norms. Norms are what is considered normal behavior. And those things don't have to line up with biology. It doesn't have to line up with common sense. It doesn't have to line up with fact. But it is what it is. And so sociology helps to uncover some of those things that we take for truth, and we analyze and assess whether or not it really is true and whether or not it really makes sense. Sociology is not for the faint of heart. It's not for those who believe what their parents tell them. It's not for those who continue to believe in the tooth fairy or Easter bunnies. That according to Peter Berger. So if you have a hard time believing in the things that, if you have a hard time thinking critically and assessing what you've always known, then you may have a hard time in sociology. Just heads up. All right. So go ahead and get the assignments done that are due this week, and get them done in the format that it's listed in the syllabus, and have a good week.